Let's get down to the New York Stock Exchange. Jim Cramer joins us at this point. And Jim, I've been watching you nonstop, watched the entire show last night, and you've been a very calming voice as we got into some of these things. And it definitely gives you solace, but this is a fast-moving market. You walk in, and right now we're looking down 570 points on the Dow again. Just talk us through what's a panic and what's rational at this point.
Well, look, I think there are people who genuinely believe that we're going to get a sweeping public health issue in, let's say, a lesser developed world. There are people who believe that leaders are going to come down with it. There are people who believe that when schools close in various areas, it must be worse than expected. And then there's me. I mean, I think that we're building in some pretty great negativity. We're back to that ratio, as Joe and you, Becky, know that late Mark Haynes said you have to do some buying whether you like it or not, which is 10-to-1. Negative to positive. So I think that if you're a 401k, I know that no one wants to hear this, but I think you have to buy some. I thought that when I think about what to do, I say you can't sell unless you have travel and leisure. Those aren't going to work. Autos won't work. Clearly, airlines won't work. So if you're full up and don't have any capital, it's still not too late to sell those, but you have to be ready with some index buying here. Just because it's the hardest thing to buy in the world. Everybody feels that Monday's going to be worse than today. I can't take that view. I have to just be automatically putting 401k money to work, whether I like it or not, because I don't have any that I haven't put any in the last year and a half. So you've got an opportunity if you have cash. And if you don't, why don't you sell some of those stocks that aren't done going down? But pretty soon we're going to have to not be able to sell anything. So make sure you're a little liquid just in case Monday's bad. But I think it's really about leaders getting sick, and it's about the lesser developed world getting sick.
And school closures here. I mean, I think that's the potential thing.
That's what scares people.
Yeah, that scares people and gets them panicked.
I think there's two things wrong. One is that Dr. Fauci apparently feels silent. I don't know if he feels silence, but that's bad. But no one really trusts any numbers in China. But the one thing that we do know is if you smoke, if you have diabetes, and you're over 65, you're very much at risk. There's a remarkable group of people who aren't at risk, which are younger people. We've had a lot of babies die of flu in our country. I know that dying of flu is much harder here than with the disease, but it is rather remarkable. We have a lot of people who didn't get the flu shot, and they died in the United States. So, I mean, I think that shutting schools is not necessarily the way to go unless you're worried about the teachers. But I believe that there's a lot of hysteria now. That doesn't mean the hysteria the first day's bottom. But when you get that level of selling, I'm going to have to default to what Mark Haynes said. I mean, he was able to call the bottom at a period when everything was not great. I know it's really hard to come up with what to do in a biological crisis. It's not financial. So the emphasis on the Fed is misplaced.